please help me welcome our speaker. Our speaker today is Sheryl Coggins. Sheryl, the session is all yours, madam.
Great. Well, thank you, Casey. I really appreciate it. Let me go ahead and get started here with sharing my screen. Here we're talking about CenarioVR. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the product already. So we're just going to step you through a few things about it. Now, the name does the first thing I want to just talk about, CenarioVR. It is a virtual reality product, but really what it's about is immersive learning. And whether you're going to do this from a desktop, a mobile phone, or an Oculus type headset, it doesn't really matter because it's still immersive no matter how you get there. So we're just going to go over today a few things. I'll do a demo, go over a couple case studies. We'll have a couple polls in here and some Q&A. Why immersive matters. Now, I think I just said this a little bit, but because it allows the person to experience the situation or the training, whatever the material is about, in a pseudo-real environment. I think this is, fairly obvious, but what it really does is put it in their hands at their own leisure, if you will, right? I can just take this on my phone or wherever, the company's chosen to deliver the content, but I can take this and focus in on that experience. And it's engaging because the idea is that you design it with a requirement of action and being part of it. And so that's why immersive training can really make a difference rather than just reading or other things. I thought that the quote here by Albert Einstein was relevant. So just wanted to point out that there's other funny ones you could say about experience. Experience is, or wisdom is that thing you get just after you needed it, or experience is that thing you get. But anyway, the only source of knowledge is experience, and that's why immersive training can really make a difference. All right, so I wanted to get started with asking the first poll question, if we could. Basically, just want to know how many of you even talked about or thought about using VR in your training programs? Oh, there we go. So we'll just give this a moment. Do you have any numbers, Casey?
Yep, they're rolling in. I'll go ahead and
Right.
poll now so you can see.
All right. So I know a lot of people probably have not tried it yet because you need a tool or you're not sure, how you would even approach such a thing. So there's a lot of things that have been out there for a long time, right? We have Unity, we have all kinds of other heavy development products. And one of the advantages, of course, with CenarioVR is that you don't have to have that level of production. You don't necessarily need that level of, certainly of coding and experience or that kind of thing. Truly anybody can pick the product up and begin building relevant content in an immersive or VR world. All right, so there's a few things that you would consider when you're getting started. And I just want to start here kind of at the beginning. You're going to need to make a plan. Like you would do, I think, for any relevant training, you're going to think ahead about what it is you want to teach, what kind of resources you're going to need, and what it is, the interaction or what you're thinking about trying to build. Then we'll get into the building, you can preview it, and then do your publishing. So at the end of this, I do have a link, and I'll get the share out to you guys, but there is a very, very good ebook that we produce. It's called Vroom, Getting Started with VR for Training. It's been around for a while, but it's perfect. It's very relevant, and it will walk you through a number of the things to consider. Whether or not VR is the right tool for the particular training that you're trying to do. Maybe the the whole topic that you're trying to produce. Maybe it's best produced in, say, 5 modules. 3 of them are, written or standard type of form. Maybe one's a game, and then one is a VR environment. So it's a really good resource. And like I said, there'll be a link at the end here that you can get to that to take a look. But one of the things it talks about is storyboarding, which is really kind of the whole planning process together. So now I didn't draw these. This is AI that produced these for me very nicely. But if we're trying to talk about what you might be going on in a warehouse, for example, right, we're going to have to think through what it is that we want to teach and how that might be done visually so that we can build out the seeds. As you can see, we have 2 branching type scenarios. So basically, what should you do about this spill of water here? And of course, the right answer would be to clean it up, or else there's going to be potential injuries. So pretty straightforward, but the visual helps set the stage, so to speak, for you in your design process. So before we go on to the next poll, I want to come back. I want to go ahead and switch over now and take you into CenarioVR. So I want to go ahead and jump into this scenario that I started building. We'll come back to the main interface of CenarioVR in a little bit, but just wanted to show you that I went ahead and I have my warehouse. I'm saying the same kind of thing that I have on my storyboard, and I have a forklift over here. And the idea is just to build out some of the things that we're going to be thinking about from that storyboard. Now, in this case, I actually used an image from our asset library, that's this warehouse, and for the forklift for that matter, and just brought them all in. But the real best example or resource for you will be to actually take a 360 photo in your own warehouse or wherever that business is. And the reason for it is because it's true, it's real, right? It gives that real experience. So we always recommend that you would take the pictures, real pictures of your real environments, and then don't worry about cleaning up or anything else. That's really kind of the point, right? You want it to be as real as possible. So when you've taken the picture, right, you're going to do the same thing we've done here. And I'm just going to go ahead and come down here and add a new scene to show you how that might work. So when you're getting started, you'll have, well, actually, I take it back. Let's take you out all the way and we'll start fresh so you can just kind of get a good example from the beginning. So the very beginning, you would be in a scene like this, where you're going to be asked to begin with your image. And in our case here, we could use the AI wizard, which will produce an image for you. Or you can select from my scenes, say you've been working on this for a while and you've already uploaded a lot of resources, which is a great way to save yourself time too, right? Once you've done your planning, you've gathered a lot of your artwork, you can just bring it in, have it pre-imported, and then bring it in. So in this case, I have a couple here. I'm just going to pick the boardroom and begin. All right, so we have this boardroom, and this is my 360 image that I brought in. It just so happens that it has this screen built on, screen built that was kind of handy. And in this case, right, we could do all kinds of things here. We can add our hotspots. We can add a video right here to play. But I really just wanted to show you how we get started. We can come back to this in a moment. So we're back in our warehouse. And I've added these little bits of art, and I've added this little info card. So if you're in here working, you'll see that there's a number of menu items here for what you can add to the scene. So this was an info card. So it would look like this when you add it. You can just say, this is demo card. You can say how you want or what you want, and you can format it. So this is a title, and this is line 2. I know, not very exciting. There's a few things you can do. You can change the colors, fonts, backgrounds, things like that. But this is fine for us in this process right here. So back to properties. If I want, I could add a motion path. I'll show you that in a minute. You can also do effects. And just for fun, why don't we do that? And of course, there's this concept of visible and invisible, because when we are building out these scenes, right, we may have a lot of resources that aren't going to be displayed immediately, right? There's going to be some cause and action to make them visible. So you have that option here as well. Okay, so we put him here. I'm just going to slide him down so we can see him. And get this out of my way. We're just going to go to preview mode. And you can see I have him spinning. Obviously a little hard to read while he's spinning. But there's that motion path that I was talking about earlier. So let's go back to edit. On the left-hand pane, you'll see that we have the scenes. Now, in this case, I've used all the same images for each of the scenes, but I have different things happening in each one. So we are here on the welcome scene. Now, I named it that. It helps keep us on track, right? Good naming for all objects is useful. But what I did do here was on my loader, I added a motion path. So let's go ahead and edit this path, and I'll show you how that works too. So this is our beginning point. You can drag them. Next. Next. And maybe I want him to come over here a little bit. Next. And over here. Done. Pretty straightforward. Back to properties. Done. Now let's take a look at this in preview mode and see what you see different. And by the way, I'm going to take this one out, so he's not in our way. All right, here we go. Preview. He's going to start playing in just a moment. I had him on a timer for when he should start his motion. Oops, sorry, I thought it was in preview. Here we go. You can see he's moving around through the whole thing that I just did. Nice, fun, gives a little bit of realism. Again, if I were really doing this in a warehouse, I would recommend that you maybe use a video clip if that's what you want to show as the actual forklift moving. Or maybe this is good enough and you don't need to take that kind of video, but you want to go with as much realism as you can. All right, so we're here. We have all these little items that I've pre-built. Now, I've got this set on a timer on this particular one. And I did that because I didn't really want the user to have to hit a play button. I just wanted it to move on, do its little intro and get going. So what I have here is an on done, where it's going to switch back to, or switch to the next scene. And I have this happening at 9 seconds. So it doesn't take very long for to move on. All right, so the second scene, this is where the action's going to happen in this case. So I've used the same principle, and what I actually did was, if you click on here, right click, you can do a copy paste, and that'll copy the whole scene. There's also a little more features that are really, really useful that you can get to later. create clip. It's effectively, if you're familiar with any of our other products, we call it a library object, but it's basically a saved set of content or objects. And you can actually just create clips and then you can bring them into any project you want. So it's reusable modules for your work. Very, very powerful, very useful. All right, so I copy pasted mainly because in this case, I actually want the same elements all here anyway, right? I'm just starting a new set of behaviors in the same imagery. So I did the copy paste, but now I'm going to make some changes. You see, I changed my primary text card to say, look around, look for any dangers. And I also did a few other things. So I don't know if you had noticed these on the first one, but I have some objects. I have a traffic cone. I have a puddle of water and a mop and a bucket. So the first thing I did was looking for the actual issue. So if we came in, our first screen, we're here at our visual. So let me show you this. Set initial view. You can set your initial view to anywhere in the scene. Well, this is where we were when we left that first scene, the welcome scene. So I don't want to change anything yet, right? So I'm going to keep it the same. But I do want them to experience what's going on. So I want them to turn around, which is why the next information is over here. Now, you're already seeing this good eye. What about it? Well, that's not going to display initially. We actually have set this to not be visible. And that's because we first want them to look for that hazard, find the hazard, and then provide some feedback. So in this case, we have our water puddle. Now you see I have two water puddles here. What I've done in this case is I've overlapped them with one being visible, one not being visible, so that I actually have some changes in behavior within the same scene. So the first one here, it's an image and it has some actions available to it. It's going to hide the text box that we had up that said look around. It's going to show the prompt for action. It's going to hide itself and it's going to show the water puddle, the next water puddle. Now you're thinking, why? What's that all about? Well, the other water puddle actually has a difference in behavior. It now becomes interactive. You can see it's now a drop spot where we're going to be able to drop multiple objects onto it. Now, what are we dropping onto it? We're going to drop the mop bucket because we want someone to succeed or to mop it up. So if we come back to our sample storyboard here, you'll see, remember we had the two options, the two branching things that we want them to do. But in this case, I added a little different element. So yeah, mopping it up is great, but they could also mark it and mark it with a pylon. So if they do that, you'll see it's also an interactive and it's designated as a drag item. And when we drag it to the water puddle, we're going to add to its score. So when we drop it, we're going to add to the score 70 points. Now, what's different about that than what I was doing with the mop bucket? On the mop bucket, I'm going to give them 100 points because it's a better answer, right? Just clean it up, get it safe and everything. Marking it's great, but it's not a complete answer. All right, so we've got our scene, we've got our water puddle, we've got some items to drop. Let's just take a look at how that looks when we go to run. All right, so I'm going to go look around. What's my hazard? I'm looking around. Oh, I see it. Now, what am I going to do about it? Well, that's right. So I'm going to drag my bucket over. And I'm going to drag my cone over too, maybe. And then I'm going to leave. Whoops. All right, so this is some of the work we still have to do. I had it going right on to basically the fail case. And that's what we don't want to encounter, right? So we want to come back here. We're going to get to our hazard and set up our so now let's see, I was just working on fixing this. Let's see here. That's the wrong one. Sorry about that. All right, so what we want to do is set up the exit to go to passed or failed, depending on the score. So want to go to the failed if. We scroll all the way down here. It's already built in. We don't have to do anything extra special. Scenario score is less than, and what was our number? 70. So less than 70, we want it to go to failed. And then we want to link to our past if our score is greater than or equal to 70. Great. Okay. So let's just take that from the top. We'll go to preview and take a look at what we're looking at here. Okay, so first we're loading. Our forklift does his thing. And now we're asked to take a look around, look for some other dangers. We look around behind us. We find the water puddle. And we drop our items on here. We do the cleanup. And I'm going to hit exit. And I come to my past. Now I don't have anything here currently being said, so we can go, oh, guess I did. Come around and see it, but the user didn't see that. So let's go fix that real quick. We'll set our point of view, the initial view. So we want to come back around and say done. So go back to our preview. You can see you can run around here pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Mark it. And we'll go ahead and exit. And see, that makes much more sense now. The user is going to not be lost. And now they can leave. Leaving actually closes the scenario altogether. So if you're in your LMS, that's when the scene, when the project would, or when the scene would end completely and you go back to your LMS page, for example. All right, so I don't know if anyone had seen here this QR code. If you did, you should be able to see my current project. So I'm going to go ahead and publish it. And then you can refresh after you've published, and you should be able to do this from your mobile device or whatever. So I'm going to go to publish. Now I have this set up to be on our LRS. I want to make sure that I track the analysis, the analytics. A second, let me come back here. I'm sorry. Right, that should stay the same. Okay. Passing score, we actually want to set this to 70 because that's what we said. And for kicks, I'm going to ask for everyone's email address and share. And that's it for publishing. Now, this is going to keep it on the CenarioVR hosted site, which is very good, by the way. You can take this onto your own LMS. You can run it from your own servers. You can even publish for offline executable use. But when you run it from our servers, you do have the advantage of the system performance being managed by us. So when someone's loading, you know, you don't have to worry about your servers bogging down or anything like that, right? We have highly dynamic and capable servers that can deliver that content pretty darn quick. All right, so hopefully that link stayed the same.
Cheryl, Kevin
Yes,
was
ma'am.
wondering if you could share that QR code real quick again.
Sure, I'll just do this one from right here.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, it's a nice little feature we have built in, and it allows you to test immediately. So if you're in the development process and you do your publish, you can take this with your phone or other mobile type device and run it right here. Very useful. Not only that, of course, you can actually launch it from here and see it in real life outside of the preview mode.
And Mauro had another quick question. He says, can the objects being dropped have a specific order?
Yes. So there's some great examples of that too. And I'm going to encourage you to take a look at a lot of the content that's on our public. So if you're a client already, you'll be able to do this yourself. Let me go ahead and show you. I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit, show you a good example of that.
It's sandwich assembly time.
If everyone can hear.
Yep, sounds
Select
good.
each highlighted tag to explore this assembly station.
All right, so we'll just hop
Bread.
through this.
Different bread cheeses.
I'm going to
Come
skip
here
it,
for
keep it
proteins. Come here for the
a little
vegetables.
faster.
Come condiments. Come here for sauces like mayo, BBQ sauce, and ketchup. Talk to Mary if you're unsure about a recipe. She's really busy, so she can only repeat the instructions twice. So listen carefully. When you're ready, select the kitchen order ticket or KOT button to receive and assemble the customer.
Okay.
First order up. Select the icon to know about the received order. New York turkey sub on wheat with some customizations. Select the Ask Mary for instructions.
Okay, so let's find out what we got to
Start by
do.
selecting a fresh wheat roll. Next, layer slices of turkey, provolone cheese, lettuce, tomato, onions, and finish with sweet peppers and mayonnaise. Carefully top the sandwich with bread and serve it to complete this order.
Select each tag and then drag the ingredient and drop them in the highlighted area. You have to complete the order within 2 minutes. Your
Okay.
time starts now.
Okay, so if everyone heard, she did actually describe the menu in a particular order, right? So, oops. So we got our wheat, and I'm going to go for the onions. Oh, so you see this right here? It's not happy with me because I'm out of order. So this is the way they designed it, right? You didn't have to do it this way, but this is the way they designed it. So what we want is turkey. Now it's happy. And let's see, where was the provolone? There we go. And now I want my onion, right? Isn't that what she said? Whoops. Nope. It was lettuce, tomato, then onion. So we'll just test that theory real quick. It's pepper. Tomato. Now we can put our onion. And oh, not the mayo. We needed those sweet peppers, didn't we? So, okay, this is maybe a little bit long here going into this, but this is exactly how you could do that in this. What did I miss? I don't think that was there. This is mayo, right? Who remembers? Was it ketchup? Sorry. No. Okay, well, I'm gonna get this all wrong, I guess. And there we go.
Failed to prepare the sandwich within 120 seconds. Please select the retry order button to start preparation again.
All right, so hopefully that helped explain a little bit about what you can do. This is definitely better work than what I'm showing here in this little demo. But there's a lot of great content out there. So if you're a subscriber, go to the public scenarios, and here you will find several items out here. You can put on the filter that is called downloadable. So all of these you can look and view even without the downloadable. But if you want to actually try it out and see how they built it, you can select downloadable, and then all of these content items are available for you to download. And you would just do that by clicking on the three buttons at the top, download scenario, and then when you're ready to create a new scene, you would just go back to your scenarios. I'm going to do a scene, select import scene, find the one you just downloaded and upload it, and then go for it. The public scenarios are great. There's so many things. And you can also look at ELB learning. You'll find that we have several things out here. In fact, this was a couple that I was working with previously. Lost in Space is another excellent one. And they're great ways to learn. Plus, there's so these are some items that I have in the resource list here at the end. But you can see we have some here examples of how to do a multiple response question, how to do some scene timings. And there's a few more like that.
We had another quick question about the food preparation project. Mario said it's amazing.
Yes.
Can you set it as a demo that he could show to his peers?
Oh, absolutely. You can do that now. So let me go back here. I'll see if I can't send this out with you. So this is, I can put this, I don't know, can I put stuff in the chat?
Absolutely.
Chat, here we go. To everyone. There you go. Yeah, it's an excellent demo that works very well. Really shows off the kind of function you can do.
And Juan had another quick question too. He said, can you export to a SCORM module so you can use it in another external LMS?
Absolutely. In fact, that's exactly what it can do. We use this in Lectora all the time as well. So we will do that. So let's show you one. We can use this one that we just did. So it's part of the publish option. And if you click here, you'll see we have several ways you can publish. So straight HTML, we can make it an XAPI, CMI, SCORM 1.2. And you can see we have a bookmarking option, and then it's just as simple for SCORM 1.2, right? So if I hit publish, and now it's here in our list, and it'll stay here in this list. And you can then download it from there or there. So if you download it, it's a SCORM package now that you can embed in any other tool that allows you to do that. So so Lectora lets you do that, or you can just run it straight on your own LMS. I can show you that real quick. I think you probably get the idea, but hopefully it doesn't take too long. And I'll just show it to you running. And there we go. So this is it running. It's a SCORM content now running on SCORM Cloud at this point. Look around, that sort of thing. All right, so I just want to go ahead and leave and get out of here. Now, if you also have Lectora, I'll just show you real quick, I guess. Not sure what time I have. It's still time. I'll just create a new project in Lectora and I'll show you how it's done here. We have kind of a quick tool to make it simpler within Lectora, but now we wouldn't use the SCORM module within Lectora because if you're building it inside the course, you're going to let the course do the scoring itself. So what we would really want to do is come back to our publish options, and we'd want to publish it to HTML in this case. So it comes in as an element. I'll just show you that also real quick. And shouldn't take too long. And download line. So here I'm in my Lectora course. I've just got a single simple page up, and I'm going to do an insert CenarioVR. Simply just need to browse for my file that I just downloaded. It's my HTML, nicely labeled so you know which ones are which from when you do your download after a publish. Okay. And now I have a ScenarioVR right in the middle of my Lectora course. So I'm not going to show you do a whole demo of Lectora, of course, but the same kind of thing. If we went to run mode, no, not run mode. We have to do a page preview. And there we are. So this is our Lectora course currently running the ScenarioVR natively inside there. So let me know if that answers those questions, if there's any others. So we covered a lot real quick here, and we're not even touching the real depth of what the product can do. But you can see that it's a lot of just assembly, right? You can build it out. You just have to kind of think through what it is you want to deliver, like you would do any training, and then build it. The amount of actions and availabilities here are great. We have all kinds of things that are built in. Let me just show you a few fun things here. Let's see, let's get to it. Oops. Just going to do a new. And for fun, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the AI wizard. And I'm going to ask for oh, I know. Is anyone in the chat? Take a moment. Anyone in the chat want to type me a prompt for the AI wizard for creating an image? I'll wait for a moment. So there are other fun things here too. We have some 3D models that you can use. And these are all items that would end up being rotatable. Let's pick something noticeable as we do it. Something like this. And let's make them a little bigger. And then if I were to go to preview mode, whoops. Just see about, oh, oops, wait a minute. Okay, what did I? Okay, let's try this again. So I can rotate him around in here and put my 3D object however you want, and that sort of thing. So do we have a, oh, we got a prompt. I'm gonna go maybe a retail store. Oh, I'm gonna have to go with the ones. It's got a little more detail here. So let's go grab that. And new scene, AI wizard. And we'll make it photoreal, but you will notice there's a number of ways you can kind of design this for the kind of stylistic, view that you're looking at. And there's all kinds of things. It's crazy. So I want to go back to cinematic realism, generate. That's generally pretty fast, but we'll see how fast we get this through today. Okay, while that's doing that, I'm just going to jump back over here to my. Want to get into poll question 2 while we're waiting, if we could do that. There we go. Great. There's a lot of different reasons why people may not get into it. I think the biggest may be the concern about technical expertise or the right tool to use. But even after you've decided that that's something you can find, right? Like finding CenarioVR, then you might have worries about your budget or even how to prove it out. And so that ebook that I brought up at the beginning, the Vroom book, it covers a lot of that too, a little bit of information about how to get your corporate buy-in as well. It's a really great resource. I highly recommend everyone take a look at it. But so I'm excited to hear what the numbers are going to be for the budget constraints or barriers to entry. Pardon me. All right, well, while waiting for that, I'm just going to jump back over here. Oh, look at that. Technical expertise. Oh, well, then this is perfect. CenarioVR is perfect for you. Thanks for the numbers. I appreciate that. All right, so here's the artwork that was produced by the AI wizard. And you can see we have several cars in here. There's the 4 different bay areas. And then, of course, we have a bunch of cars around. These are great cars. How fun is that? We'll let it spin one more time before I bring it in. And that definitely captured the photorealism of it as well. So pretty nice. All right, so we're just going to let that load up. And done. So here we are. Let me expand this a little bit. We can zoom around. Quite a nice image. And so just like any of the other things now, this is our background, and we can begin doing anything we want in here, adding videos, timers, the cars, like you saw we did earlier. You could have that car in here. You could add some other 3D objects maybe that you set up to rotate around and look at while you're working on it. I'm imagining somebody's got the idea of, having some sort of mechanical things, maybe a carburetor. Well, nobody uses a carburetor anymore. Well, these cars do. But things like that. So you could definitely make this a really great interactive experience for anything in the mechanics workshop.
Kevin was wondering if there's any recommendations on cameras to use to capture the 360 images.
Absolutely. So most of the modern 360 cameras are pretty great. Insta360, for example, GoPro has one. We do have an article that is out on our blog site that covers camera. It does actually a couple things. It talks about what kind of cameras, but it also talks about some of the features of the camera to pay attention to. Because once you've taken the picture, you still have a little work to do with them because they're called raw images, and you'll need to do a little bit of work scaling them, right? The new ones are really, really high res, and which is great, but it's also maybe too much for what you're trying to do here, right? Because you got to remember that your bandwidth, your user's bandwidth, your learner's bandwidth, those things are going to vary a little bit as well. So we really want to bring it down to as low res as gets the best experience across. So there's a lot of that kind of detail covered it's in the Vroom book too. And then also in the blog entries, there's 1 or 2 articles about the cameras. If you're also a subscriber to ELB's Asset Library and the studio products, there are several images available up on the Asset Library to use as well. That's where I got this one that I was using for the warehouse. And of course, you can also build it out, right? Even with the AI, maybe you want to use it kind of as a template until you've taken that great picture. You could just use any image or just ask it for a white room, for example. So you have a blank canvas, so to speak, and you can just build it out, and then you can bring that artwork in later. You can always do that as well. Okay. I'm loving the questions, by the way, so keep them coming. All right, so we got our thing. And so then I was just gonna jump to a few little case studies here to show you. Now, the Wincanton company here, they actually had a very interesting experience with the product. They, as you can see here, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but they had 3 different areas where they were having the bulk of their incidents. And so once they actually built out the training, they found that they had a huge reduction in incidents, and they considered it total 300% ROI in just that short time. And I'll share the little video. It only takes a minute or so to go through.
As part of our culture of care and investing in the safety of our people, we asked Video Interact to produce some interactive 360 filmed VR courses to cover the 3 major accidents and incidents that occur in our transport operation: cage falls, dropped trailers, and red light pull-offs. Each topic needed a narrative that would reflect the daily experiences of our drivers, office and warehouse staff, all of whom play a part in preventing these incidents. The courses had to be deliverable in group training sessions, as well as being available on mobile devices for individuals to watch by themselves. Filming in 360 allowed us to create that feeling of being in the midst of the action in the warehouses and bays of a busy distribution centre. And, as everything was filmed at the Thameside depot using our own people, and a friendly supermarket manager when we filmed a sequence for the Cage Falls course, the course has real authenticity. Viewers are given opportunities to do quizzes, spot hazards, and consider the characters' situations, making the courses much more than simple passive sets of instructions. This is in-depth, focused, reflective learning. And, of course, the great thing about having a filmed resource in a business as geographically diverse as ours is that it can be seen at any time by anybody if they feel they need to refresh their learning, or if the business feels that a particular topic needs a boost.
There we go. So that's a great example. I won't take you through too many more or any more videos like that to take our time. I know we're close on time, but it's a great example. We also have Fendi. You've probably familiar with their name a little bit. They did a course that was actually about shoplifting, and within 6 months, 400% improvement. And that's because people get that real life experience of seeing the problem, potential problems, identifying them, and reacting to them. Another one is actually it's a company who produces content for their clients, and they chose to use CenarioVR as their primary development product. And in this study here, we can see that they developed 170 modules in 14 months. That's pretty impressive. And they had a huge ROI on the work that they had done here. So whether you're developing for other people or you're building in-house, CenarioVR really can provide the comprehensive tool that you need.
Awesome. We did have a few more questions come in.
Sure, okay.
Kevin was wondering, is it possible to create a panel on the side that contains objects that should be placed into specific places on the 360 images? His specific use case is that he needs learners to place a survey flag in specific locations in the image.
Absolutely. It works the same way. You would basically just align the flags, the initial resources, and then you can make what we call the hotspot, the drag location where it needs to be placed, wherever you need it. And you don't have to necessarily keep it obvious. So let's see, let's come up here. So in this case, my water puddle was my drag to location. And if you look here, it has a hover behavior right now, which means it kind of signals to someone that, yeah, I'm a droppable spot. But if you don't want them to do that, and you want to really know that they're getting to the spot that they need to be, you would just remove it. And then that way, there's no actual visual indicator that that might be a right spot for them. That would be one way you could do that. And then again, the aligning of the objects. I mean, these are just wherever you want them. So when you say left-hand panel, you just decide what's your point of view that you want them to work from, or do you want them to turn their heads to engage, right? Find my list of things over here and then drag it over to the right. That's actually a really good way to keep them truly immersed in the experience, right? Not just right there on the front of the screen. Does that answer your question?
While we wait for him to respond back, we had another question about the phone. Carolyn was wondering if you could use your phone in the panorama mode to take the 360-degree images. No.
No, it just doesn't quite produce an actual 360 image. So you can put up 180 images to use. You don't have to have necessarily a 360. So you should try that and see what you think. But you won't have the upper or lower right view. It'll just be that panorama view that you have right there.
So a follow-up question from Kevin. Can I allow the object to follow along in the view so it remains visible?
Yes. Yep. So let's go ahead and try that out. we can make it what we call fixed. So there he is. And so now if I'm moving around, you see how he's fixed? He's staying in the same relative position no matter where I'm looking.
Awesome. Then another quick question I saw from John. He's wondering about that room book link. Can we maybe we'll
Absolutely.
include that in the follow-up unless if you have it handy, yeah, we could do that too.
You bet I do. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a great resource. So I'll put that up here in this chat. You probably didn't need all that extra stuff at the end. Just getting started with VR training is all the URL you really need, though. Okay. I have a few other things. These are the ones that you can search for. So if you're a client already, you can search for these. Lost in Space, Space Escape. We have a couple course starters, we call them. They're basically fill in the blanks, right? The content's already kind of built and you can just go modify the text in the questions, that sort of thing. I'll just show you one of those real quick too. This one's nice. It's a great way to understand how the engineering works, but you can also just come in. We're not in edit mode right now, but you would be able to come in and just make your edits, right? And it'll take you through. You have your topic and skip ahead to other things, see what you want to do. So these are just pre-built. And like I said, you could just go ahead and edit them to be what you want or re-engineer them however you like. So those are some great examples that are out there. I want to show you the one because it's kind of fun and it also shows a key about the immersive training. So we saw that with the sandwiches, the timer on the, how fast can you make the sandwich, that sort of thing. But this one also has a timer. Let me see if I can mute it here. So it has a timer, but it has these things, right? So you're interacting with it, you're trying to solve for what it wants. And so it's engaging. So some of these items, of course, are irrelevant probably to your content, but it could be any question you actually ask under the guise of this, right? So it doesn't have to, all the imagery doesn't always have to be about your content. It definitely depends on what you're trying to achieve. And the last one I'll just show you because I just want to show you, you get to repair. And you basically pick up, put this here, and you won. All right. All right, so those are a few samples. We have more samples. Encourage you to consider, if you're not already a subscriber, to consider a trial. Check it out. Here's a QR code to get you right to the trial. And of course, you can contact anyone here at ELB Learning. Would be happy to help set you up or give you more information if you need. All right, we have just a couple minutes. Oh, we're over a minute. Any other questions before we go?
No, I think we're all caught up. I hope I didn't miss any in the chat. I think we're all set. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing this amazing tool with us. It's very, very cool. Even for me still, very cool to see up close. Thank you all for attending, for joining us. Like I said at the top, we're going to send a link to this recording. So if you want to rewatch or share, you can have a look. That'll come probably around Wednesday next week. And we'll include some of these links to some of these little examples so you can have another look at that too. And perhaps that Vroom book too. So thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Cheryl. This has been great.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. See you next time.